This video is sponsored by the Rich Wallet. More on that later in the video. Today I'm going to show you how to make a Sourdough Babka. It's so freaking delicious. Hi, I'm Sune and I'm a food geek. Today I'm going to show you how to make a sourdough version of a babka with a delicious chocolate filling. Babka was developed in the Jewish communities in Eastern Europe in the early 19th century, where leftover challah dough was rolled up with jam or cinnamon and baked with the challah. If you want to make a sourdough challah, I have a recipe for that on my channel. The link is in the card above. Babka was largely unknown outside of Poland until the 1950s, where European-style bakeries started baking babka in Israel and in the US. The chocolate babka was probably invented around this time, but it's not known for certain. In the early 2010s, babka gained popularity and spread across the US. This resulted in many different babkas with meat, savory seasonings, and many different sweet varieties. The one I will show you today is a chocolate babka, but you can certainly freestyle it and put whatever you prefer inside the dough. Please note that if you add meat into a babka, it won't be kosher anymore, since it's an enriched dough that contains dairy. So for the last 10 years, I haven't been using a regular wallet. I use cards for everything. Even my driver's license and social security card are in credit card form. And I've been looking for the perfect wallet for cards, and now I found it. The Rich Wallet is not only gorgeous, it's also super practical. You can fit up to 12 cards, and there's a clip on the back if I need to keep some cash. It's light and super sturdy, and the Rich team is so confident that you'll like it that they'll let you test drive it for 45 days. You can send it back for a full refund if you don't love it. If you're interested, check out the link in the description and use the coupon code Foodgeek at checkout for a 10% discount. Thank you to the Rich Wallet for sponsoring this video. The dough in this babka is an enriched dough with egg, milk, butter, and sugar. If you're using it with a savory filling like meat or seasonings, you can omit the sugar. The flour used is just plain all-purpose flour, since we want a soft crumb and not a chewy crumb. And since it's baked in a pan, we don't need a lot of gluten development. The inoculation is 25% to promote a bit of a faster fermentation. You don't want this dough to be sour, and enriched doughs ferment slower. The salt content is 2.2%, which is pretty standard. If you're worried about salt content, you can lower this. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider becoming a member at Patreon. You can also buy some merch or use the links in the description for tools and ingredients. Those were the words. This is the recipe. If you want a written recipe, I've left a link for my blog in the description of the video. To the bowl of your stand mixer, add 320 grams of all-purpose flour, 7 grams of salt, 40 grams of sugar, mix it a bit to distribute the salt and sugar. Then add 100 grams of eggs, or about 2 large eggs. 100 grams of milk, whatever kind you prefer. 80 grams of sourdough starter at its peak. Run your mixer on 2. Scrape down the sides as needed.
Then when the dough looks nice and cohesive, start adding 60 grams of cubed butter, a couple of pieces at a time. When all the butter is kneaded into the dough, move the dough to a bulking container with straight sides. Level the dough. Mark the top of the dough in the container and mark where the dough will have grown 50%. Then put the dough in your proofer or somewhere warm and let it grow by 50%. While the dough is proofing, now is a good time to prepare the chocolate filling. In a microwave-safe bowl, add 75 grams of dark chocolate, chopped or in drops, 75 grams of granulated sugar, 25 grams of Dutch processed cocoa powder, 75 grams of butter. Put it in the microwave on full for a minute until the butter is completely melted. And mix it up so that everything is combined. Put it back in the microwave on full for a minute more. Mix until it's smooth. When the dough is finished fermenting, flour your counter. Flip the dough out onto the flour. Flour the top of the dough and roll it out into a rectangle about 20 centimeters times 30 centimeters, about 8 inches times 12 inches. Spread the chocolate filling on top of the dough. Roll the dough up on the short edge. Then put it in a pan lined with baking paper and put it in the freezer for about 20 minutes to firm up the dough. Get a very sharp knife and slice the roll in half. Then braid it, making sure that the chocolate parts stay upright. Grab a small bread pan and spray it with baking spray. Move the dough to the pan. Cover it with plastic wrap. Then do a second proof. The dough should rise 25 to 50%. It took about 5 hours in my proofer. But it's the rise that's important, not time. When the dough is about there, heat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius, 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Brush with an egg wash made by mixing 1 egg with 1 tablespoon of water. Put it in the oven and bake for 40 to 45 minutes until done. Aim for an internal temperature of about 95 degrees Celsius, 203 degrees Fahrenheit. While the babka is baking, prepare a simple syrup. To a microwave-safe bowl, add 50 grams of sugar, 50 grams of water. Microwave on high for 1 minute. Take the bowl out and stir to make sure all of the sugar granules are melted. Then leave it until you need it. When the babka is done, remove it from the oven. And put the pan on a wire rack. Brush the top of the babka with the simple syrup. Leave it to cool for about 5 minutes, then remove the babka from the pan and let it cool completely. Don't wait any longer than 5 minutes because it might get horribly stuck because of the sugar in the syrup hardening. Now it's time to cut this delicious looking thing. Look at that. Deliciously fermented enriched dough and gooey chocolate filling. I'm gonna try this. While I finish my babka, you can look at these pictures.
Wow, that babka is a looker. And the taste is amazing as well. It's gooey and chocolatey on the inside. The syrup that's brushed over top gives a sweet and crunchy texture to the outside of the babka. There's not a hint of sourdough tang in here, which would not be fitting. But the dough has much more presence because of the much longer fermentation than a regular yeast dough would have. And on top, it looks super gorgeous as well. I hope you learned something today. See you next time.